if there was one thing that you would recommend somebody buy, if they say, hey, I just got my income tax, I want to do something, I don't
Sure.
feel like my phone good, would you recommend iPad, microphones, lights? What would you recommend if somebody said, I just got to have something new?
One, two, three, four.
Welcome to the next edition of Conversations with Brent. People have asked me, Brent, you've been consistent with your shows, you're putting shorts out, the quality looks better. Well, today you're going to find out the reason why. The young man on today, Mr. Arthur Swartz, is the man that's making it all happen. Arthur, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good, Brent. How are you?
I'm good, man. So, just so people know, we do work together, and you offered to help, and I mean, everything you have done has been amazing. What made you want to get involved with doing something like this?
Well, when I saw you post your content at the beginning of the year, as you were kind of starting back up, I had known that you were doing a little bit of content on the side
Mhm.
from a couple of years ago. But when you started reposting, I watched your first video from this year, or it was this year or late last year, and
Yeah,
it really just got a stir in me. It wasn't my favorite edit, but not knocking the editor because editing is not an easy thing to do when you
right.
don't when you're still learning or you don't know what you're doing. But it got a stir in me that kind of was just like, hey, I've done this in the past, and then I'd be more than willing to help. I mean that as you know, that's kind of just the person that I am. I really just like helping others and like seeing other people succeed. And video editing is a passion of mine,
Yes.
along with video creation. So that's kind of where it started, and where we've taken it is really just amazed me, and I love continuing to see it grow.
Well, man, like I said, I greatly appreciate it because the quality, you've made suggestions of items to get, even our microphones, lighting,
Yeah.
and I think all that has made a difference. And even your edits, what kind of tools do you use when you're editing?
Yeah. So 100% of what I do right now for the main videos is edited on my iPad using an app called LumaFusion. For those of you that are interested in trying to get started with editing, it's not free, but in terms of what it's capable of, it's pretty powerful. I've not reached the ceiling yet with it to where I feel like I should move on to something else. That could always change, but that's
Mhm.
where I do a lot of that. We were originally doing a lot of the shorts where I hand edited everything as well, including any kind of text that you see on screen. I used to have to listen to you repeat something multiple times and type it in early on.
Right.
Now we've moved on to a variety of different AI tools as AI is really taking over that space. Um, so a lot of the stuff that you're seeing now is generated out from the long form video, and I'm really just picking and choosing shorts that look good, they make sense, and I feel like they're going to gain traction. And I feel like we've hit a pretty good streak recently where we've been able to kind of nail it.
Yeah, because I know you check the analytics and everything, and we've had some videos, most of ours about shorts about 200 some odd views, and we've had a couple that were 1800, 1700, 1600. So like you said, definitely getting some traction. What is it
Yeah.
about editing and just all this that you enjoy doing? Because when we first talked about it, I said, look, all I want to do is talk, and you can do what you want. And I think a lot of times people stifle people's creativity by trying
Mm.
to tell the creative person, let's do this, let's do that. And you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, hey, just do what you do.
So for me, editing has been a thing that I've been into since I was younger. I created a lot of random content for me and my friends. When we were younger, I created content for school when I was in high school and college. So it's been something that I've always loved, and I've always had this. When I look at things like creating content and editing, I look at a lens of being able to tell a story, and I just can envision how the edit goes. And it's just something that I've seen for the longest time, even though I didn't know how especially early on, I didn't know how to edit. I just envisioned how I would cut together something, and I would just work on it. And with every video that you make, especially as a content creator or a video editor, you try to make every edit better each time. So that's the thing that I've always been trying to do, taking everything that, I do for you, I do for other content creators,
Right.
I do for our job. I try to do as much as I can to make each video better and better each time.
And I think people can see the progression of our work. And the thing I like about you is you're always thinking of something else. It's like, hey, I thought of this. Let's try this. Even with us trying a new platform, most of ours have been done on Zoom, and now we're
Yep.
using Riverside. And it's like the thing I
Fingers
like.
crossed.
Yes. And the thing I like is that you're never complacent with what we're
Yeah.
doing. We even talked to Keo once, the three of us, to get some
Yep.
pointers since he's been doing it a while, and you took that feedback and you implemented it, and it's like people can notice the difference. What would you say? A lot of people ask me, man, how do you get started podcasting? What did you do? What do you need? If somebody came to you and said, Arthur, what do I need to get started? What would you recommend?
In terms of both video and audio podcasting, I mean, it's super simple. It's like I told you, Brent, when we got started with creating your content. We just need the stuff that we have, and we'll build on it as you progress. So even if you're just starting with a simple video podcast and you're posting it to YouTube only, just recording from the devices that you have, whether it be a phone or even a tablet, maybe it's some sort of camera that you have. Usually your phone is the best camera that you have at the moment. So not needing to go out and purchase equipment. And that's the nice thing that we've been able to do with your content is we have not made that many upgrades. We've changed some of the software that we use, and we've tried to upgrade the audio quality as best we can because we've moved to an audio only platform. But for the most part, we've tried to stick with what we have. We've upgraded in lights recently, both you and I, so we can make sure that we're upping the light game, which just that's probably the only things that I would consider investing on early is some decent lights, and not even really going that expensive. I mean, both you and I have spent less than probably 150 bucks in total on lights.
Yes.
And that's not that much because you could easily spend a lot of money on lights. And then the microphones, I mean, these microphones, they sound great. They're only 50 bucks a piece. And they're super simple to use, really plug and play. But yeah, just focusing in on using what you have to get started and just focusing on the content is the most important thing. And then, like I said before, just continuously trying to get better every single time. What can you improve? Is it a minor edit change that you make? Is it something that you use to enhance your audio? Whatever it is, you just continue to try and improve.
And I think you've done a great job of helping me. I know for me, my thing is I always want to look at the guests, and people are like, no, you got to look at the camera. But when you're taught to look at somebody when you speak to them, it's hard
Yeah.
to kind of look at the camera. So I'm working on that, and you always give me great feedback.
Yep.
What is one thing that, and I know what you told me, what's your mission in helping me? What is it that you're trying to accomplish?
So, I mean, for me, it's really just helping you continue to grow in what you're passionate about using what I'm passionate about. So, sharing our passions and being able to work together and collaborate and really continue to take what you're doing to the next game. And the other thing is taking your message and trying to get it out to more people by creating high quality content.
I was always told when a student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I am the student and you are the teacher. And we are at a point where our numbers have grown, our
Yep.
subscribers are up. And so I attribute a lot of that to your creativity. If there was one thing that you would recommend somebody buy, if they say, hey, I just got my income tax, I want to do something, I don't
Sure.
feel like my phone good, would you recommend iPad, microphones, lights? What would you recommend if somebody said, I just got to have something new?
So there's a lot of free software out there to do video edits. So I don't recommend necessarily jumping into something like what I have. I had this prior to working with, starting to do your content.
Right.
As I was trying to work on some other stuff. But I would say the biggest things are, of course, starting with your phone. And then the other thing is just probably some lights to begin with, because lights really help with enhancing your phone's quality. It makes it look better than it actually, although phone cameras have gotten so good nowadays, but
Yes.
adding lights to anything when you're capturing video or even photos, adding lights is always going to help, because it's going to enhance your content. And then I would say the next step after that would be improving your audio, because that's the thing that a lot of people don't really take a look at, because 50% of this video is audio. So if you're watching this and the audio sounds bad, you're probably not going to want to stick around and watch the whole thing,
That
because
is
it
so
just,
true.
yeah, because once the audio is bad, you're just like, oh. Although I'll say this, if you're in a quiet space, your phone's camera probably records really decent audio too. So, and we've gotten away with that too. We've done that early on.
Yes.
Some of your early videos, we were just recording from our phone's camera, and all of the audio was there. There are some software tools that you could utilize to enhance your audio. If your video editor that you're using enhances your audio, you could do that. I use a podcasting tool that's free from Adobe to be able to try and enhance the audio as much as I can. So there's a lot of things out there, and because I produce this content, I'll try to throw a lot of it in the description for you guys. So that way, if you want to check out some of the stuff that we use, you can get access to it. But yeah, a lot of it you guys probably haven't noticed, other than the improved quality. A lot of it is just in the background and it's just sitting there. Like if you could, well, one of these days we'll have to kind of shoot some behind the scenes stuff when
Oh,
we're doing in
definitely.
person, so people can see kind of what our setup looks like. Cause I'm sure it looks a lot different than what they think it does. Because
Oh,
that's what our guests think every single time. They're just like, wow, this does not look like how I imagined it would. I mean, it looks really nice and professional, but I think they were imagining that we were shooting with like some fancy 4K camera, what have you.
and I think the thing that I like is with working with you is because there's no egos, and sometimes people
Yeah.
have egos, and
Hmm.
it makes it easy to work with somebody who's creative and willing to work with you, and they're putting your interests above theirs. And so
Hmm.
I greatly appreciate that. And I'd say another thing I would say about working with you is you're always pushing me. Did you post? Did you do this? Because
Hmm.
anybody that does social media know it is a job, it is a task,
Yeah,
it is a chore. And to have somebody to hold you accountable is very key. So thank you for that.
of
Now,
course.
one thing I don't know if some of you all know, but we are on podcasts. Anywhere you listen to
Yeah.
your favorite podcast. So some people say, well, I really can't listen or watch at work, or I would like to listen while I'm driving.
Yeah.
Anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can do that. And you have Arthur to thank for that as well. He set us up Conversations with Brent on Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon.
Amazon,
Yes,
Stitcher Radio,
yes.
uh, Pocket Cast. There, basically whatever podcast platform you listen to podcasts, you can listen to Conversations with Brent.
And I'm gonna ask you the same thing that I do with YouTube. If you listen on there, subscribe. All this
Hmm.
helps us to be pushed to the top. It helps get us seen and heard. And one thing I would like to ask you, if you have some suggestions of what type of content would you would like to see, you can email me at
Yeah.
contact@brentkmiller.com. If you would like to be a guest, contact@brentkmiller.com. And we're just looking to tell people's story. That's why it's called Conversations
Yeah.
with Brent, connecting with people on all levels. We want to talk to any and everybody because everybody has a story. And so we just want to get it out there. So, Arthur, man, I can't thank you enough. I appreciate
course.
everything you've done, everything you continue to do. Is there any place or anything you would like them to follow? I know you're working on some stuff, not quite ready to release it yet, but
Sure.
is there any place or anything you want people to reach out to you if they have questions?
Yeah. I mean, you're more than willing to connect through Brent, of course, but I'll throw my YouTube channels in the description below too when I post this. But I have two channels, the very limited videos on them. But one of them is at Refresh Tech on YouTube. So that's my tech advice channel, mostly iPad related content at the moment. But as I continue to grow that, it could turn into more. And then my family has our own channel where we've posted a couple of videos about some of our adventures. And you can follow that at Swartz Family Adventure. And again, the links will be in the description so that way you guys can check out the channels.
And if you like what Arthur is doing, just hit the like button or leave him a comment and say, hey, really like the upgrades. I like the edits, because we need to show people appreciation. And as people say, give them their flowers while they're alive to appreciate them. So I'm giving Arthur his flowers today, and I'm asking you to do the same. So tune in to Conversations with Brent. We drop every Tuesday, 9 a.m. Make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss it, and go to your favorite podcast platform and listen there. Arthur, any parting words for our guests before we leave?
No, I think the main things are, if you're interested in getting into content creation, just like Brent and myself, or any of the other people that you've seen on Brent's shows, because a lot of them also create their own content. We always post their links in the descriptions. We love sharing their information as well. Don't be afraid. The big thing is just getting started. And the other thing is, don't do what I've done with my tech channel stuff. Don't leave it in the editing portion. Just take your content, post it, and that's how you get started. You just got to keep posting. But other than that, no, we love the support that you guys have given Conversations with Brent. We'd love to continue to grow the channel and get these messages out to more people. So yeah, again, like Brent said, liking, subscribing, sharing. I mean, when I look at the stats, a lot of people watch the videos, they don't subscribe. So show the support. We'd love to spread this to more people, and be able to get more people that you guys want on the channel. But even the people that we have on the channel, they're such amazing people, and getting to hear their stories and getting to hear Brent talk to them, just continue to push that and share the content with people, is what I would say.
Yeah. And if you haven't seen, we just completed last week, we did 4 days of content on the NFL draft, where we talked to 14 ex-NFL players sharing their draft experience. We talked to Sherry Riley speaking on exponential living, Don Patrice,
Yep.
Tarnisha Mosas, Anthony
Yep.
Edwards. So go back and check out some of the old videos and leave us some messages. We would love to hear your feedback so we can continue to improve. Well, with that being said, Arthur, thank you so much again. I greatly appreciate it. And let's keep going on to bigger and better things, my friend.
We will. Sounds good, Brent. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in to Conversations with Brent, connecting with people on all levels, Mr. Arthur Swartz.